Pin it.
Dusty plains and broken dreams, cowboys and Indians on the same team. We got no masters, only our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, the wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies. Under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horses thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horses thunder in the night.
Welcome, Patriots, to the 7th episode of the Cowboys and Indians podcast. I am your host, the Native Patriot, but you can call me Maurice. And of course, with me today is my co-host, the Cowboy Steve, but you can just call him Steve. How you doing today, Steve?
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing quite well. I got home at a
Nice.
decent time today, was able to clean up, so I'm like, well, this is about as clean as I get. Oh no, I did
That's
the camera
pretty,
thing.
dude. Based on average, that is like about the cleanest Maurice will ever get. You know?
Yeah, it took me about 15 to 20 minutes of just deep scrubbing, but I do what I can. Changing tires for a living, that's one of the reasons why I told my wife when she decorated our house, I said, make sure everything is dark. All the furniture, all the carpets, everything has to be dark, because if it's
Yeah.
white, I'm going to stain it. Not on purpose, but it is what it is.
It's like, oh, babe, you marking up the white couch.
Yeah.
Man,
so
we got a
as you
good
guys
show
know-
tonight, man.
Yeah, we got quite a few things to talk about tonight. As you guys know, Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan's podcast, and there was a very, very devious tactic that Google used. Now, Google is one of the largest donors to the Kamala Harris campaign, and Google owns YouTube. So when Joe Rogan dropped the podcast, which I didn't even know that it was dropping that. I had no idea that it was dropping Friday night. I figured they were waiting until Monday. Dropping it at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on a Friday, that's insane.
Oh, dude, that's the day to drop it. Friday night. I don't know if you're keen on like artistry and the music industry, but everybody drops their new hit song or their single or whatever on a Friday. Tom McDonald's really famous for that, if you keep up with him.
Oh yeah, man,
But
I
it
love
is
Tom McDonald.
It's crazy
He's
though,
one of
man.
the
Like,
best.
yeah, whenever they started, like I was in the same boat as you. Whenever they were saying, "Oh well, it's coming sometime soon," and then they're like, "Boom, it's dropping this Friday," and it got people really pumped up for it. And I know what you're talking about. You're talking about how the YouTube episode basically was unlisted. So if you didn't have the link
Not
directly
basically.
to the YouTube, well, yes. If you did not have the direct link to the podcast, then you could not access it, which was crazy because did you see how many views it got just in that first night alone?
Millions.
It was roughly about 1 million views per hour.
Oh my gosh.
That's insane. I wonder if we'll ever get to 1 million views per hour here on X and Rumble one day.
Well, we can try. I have a lot of faith that this podcast is actually going to get really big one day, because I mean you have some unique and keen insights that I don't hear from these political pundits. There's a lot of political pundits that are so disconnected from reality that I honestly
Yep.
think it's about time that the average man steps in. And I know that one day we'll
Yeah.
become disconnected. Once we get bigger, there's going to be a certain amount of disconnect. But I mean, I'm in my almost mid 30s, right? I'm 33 right now, and I've been working since I was 12,
Yep.
though. Right, my stepdad owned his own construction
Oh, okay.
company, and I
Mhm.
mean, for as long as I can remember, I've been out every spring break, winter break, summer break. I was out there helping him. Uh, thank you
Mhm.
guys for all joining. I really appreciate it. Right now, we're kind of just discussing a little bit about the Joe Rogan podcast. I see a couple new people are joining, so I just wanted to kind of mention the chat. So, but as far as the unlisting goes,
Mhm.
on Friday night when it got big, it was released. It seemed
Yes.
that Google unlisted the podcast entirely and changed it from the search results. And as far as I know, it was only fixed today, where they fixed the search results so that
Wow.
when you search Trump Joe Rogan or Joe Rogan Trump, it actually came up as the first
Mhm.
thing, because Google was playing these games trying to make it to more and more difficult to find the podcast itself.
Yes. Yeah, so you have the parent company Alphabet that controls all of these, organizations, and you
Hmm.
you notice these companies are saying, "Oh, we are not censoring," and all these things. But let's be real, it's the censorship is still going on, especially on Google, on Facebook. Luckily, Elon Musk bought X, YouTube, and then we have Rumble, which, I believe it's Canadian based, right?
I don't know about that. I mean,
I think it might be. I could be wrong.
mm,
But
yeah,
anyways, so that on one hand, they're saying, "Oh, we're not censoring," but on the second hand, they are actively censoring because let's be clear, what they did to Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, they censored the hell out of this episode.
hmm well, and not only that, okay, they can say that they're not censoring, but the problem is that the mistakes always fall in one direction. It's like, oh, oopsie, it must have been a
Right.
glitch or something that you can't search it, or that it doesn't come up first, or that it was unlisted, or they'll always have these lame excuses that we cannot prove otherwise. But it always tends to fall in one way.
Yeah,
Two
exactly, and
Point
that's
Podcast.
why
Thanks for
people.
tuning in, brother. This is another podcast on the Patriots Prayer Network. If you guys are watching on X, please tune in over at rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer. Watch us on there. Give us a follow if you can. But the 2 Point Podcast is also a newer podcast on the Patriots Prayer Network. Puts out a lot of good information. Damn good Patriots, based out of Florida. But he says their
Oh, dead
algorithms are
wrong.
designed to squash the opposition, even the little guy. That's true. And that's why we don't push our YouTube at all. Not even a little bit.
Mm-mm.
There's no reason to.
We should always be encouraging these alternate platforms. X is
Hmm.
the main one, social media wise. You have Rumble, even bank accounts, whatever you can do, get away from these large corporations because the more money we put into these large corporations, the tighter stranglehold they have on free speech and your financial well-being. I mean, even when everything was going on in Canada with the truckers' rights, there were chase accounts, people's accounts were getting wiped, and it's been happening for years now. And the only way we can change this is if we put our money where our mouth is. So if we get out of
And your
these
attention.
big tech
That's
corporations,
hmm
exactly. So that's what happened with Target. There was a huge boycott Target whenever they were selling transgender clothing for children. And look, no more transgender clothing at Target because at the end of the day, they care about money. They don't care about ideology. So if we put our foot down, that's how we make impactful change.
yeah, exactly. I mean, corporations shouldn't be endorsing candidates or anything like that. Like, everybody wants their corporations or their favorite brand of beer or whatever to be woke and promote all
Mhm.
these things. But in all reality, the companies do not care. The reason that so many companies have been bending the knee for so many years to to the woke ideology is because of the ESG scores, which dictated a lot
Yes.
of their actions. All of a sudden, this ESG scores popped up for all these major corporations, and then they started bending the knee because, like, oh well, these are the rules, and then it just got worse and worse, and then people were putting up with it for a long time until it got to the point of ridiculousness, to where it was
Yes.
obviously like, okay, this is not real life, and nobody actually experiences these things. So in
Mhm.
in all reality, the only way to change this is exactly like you said, Steve. It is to
Yep.
stop giving your attention to these companies, stop giving your money
Yes.
to these companies. And a lot of these companies are fighting for your attention because they get ad revenue every time you click. That's why all the
Mhm.
rage bait, that's why all the headlines are
Yes.
so ominous, and they
Yeah.
always want they always want to suck you in to grab your attention, so that way they can get the ad revenue and the numbers.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
once you
So
start
it's all
paying
these people
attention
on
to
social
them,
media right now.
oh
It's all these
yeah.
media right Hitler, like right after Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden visit. And I think we're probably going to get into this, but
Hmm.
this was mass formation psychosis, just how they did there in COVID-19. They have that was their practice run, and now they have it down to a T, and it's happening right now. It's but I think what's good is several years ago we may have not noticed exactly what was going on, but now it's like almost instantly people pick up on this stuff because there's so many awakened patriots around right now, and it's actually a very beautiful thing to see.
So Steve put out a tweet earlier. I don't know if you guys can. Why is it not switching? Okay, here we go. Steve put out a tweet earlier. I'm going to read it to you really quick because I'm sure that you're having a hard time reading it. But he says, just so everyone is aware, Democrats were already bracing for Donald Trump's rally in New York City because they knew beforehand it would be wildly popular. Want to know how I know? General Kelly
Mm,
stating that Donald Trump idolized Hitler's generals was them laying the foundation to call the New York City rally what they were calling it. If Kelly wanted to express this, he would have done this years ago. Timing is everything. This is the definition of mass formation psychosis. Many brainwashed sheep took the bait and ran with it.
mm. A little bit of truth behind that, right? Because you can see
A lot
exactly
of it.
it started with MSNBC whenever they were showing the overshot of Donald Trump's rally, and it said first MSG rally since 1939 Nazi year, something to that effect.
85 years. It's
But
85 years since the Nazis held a rally at Madison Square Garden is how they framed it.
I did not see that coming. Boom,
Oh,
crash, dad
Heather.
joke. But anyways, so oh hey Heather, howdy. So, but there's a lot of truth behind that because General Kelly, he knew well. Okay, it was bullshit from the beginning itself. But why would he lay that down literally a couple of days before the Madison Square Garden rally? They were setting everybody up to build that narrative for this event because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 30 or 40,000 people at least showed up. They were stating that it hit max capacity rather quick, and then there was enough people standing outside that they could have sold out Madison Square Garden twice. So I don't know max capacity. I think it's 30,000, so 60,000 people plus, with everybody, you know, I guess tailgating outside for lack of better terms, but they knew this was going to be very successful. And they did this because they've been doing this for years against Donald Trump and his supporters by calling them fascists, Nazis, deplorables, whatever name you can think of. And then everybody saw this and they took it and they ran with it because their minds are so warped since COVID-19 that they were actually anytime someone brings up something anti Donald Trump, immediately they're going to repost it or they're going to create that narrative and they're just going to run with it. And it's insane how brainwashed these people are.
Well, I would actually like to show you another tweet here, and this is from Dr. Simon Godek. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Good
So
echo, yeah.
he said, "What the f, MSNBC? You deserve to be canceled to the core." And he's right, because I want you guys to listen to how they frame this. Okay, that they knew exactly what they were doing. What the Sorry, I just pulled up something on my screen and it blocked most of it. But they knew exactly what they were doing when they decided to run that Hitler story, saying that Trump was, wants generals like Hitler had. So they set this entire thing up, because look at this at Madison Square Garden. Trump is the
Yes.
most popular president. I mean, this is a movement, but this is how MSNBC framed this entire story. So we can go ahead. I just want to show you guys exactly how devious the media is.
But that jamboree happening right now, you
Okay, hang on.
see it there on your screen,
That jamboree.
in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000
Can you hear it?
supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler,
I can hear it.
packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct. Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls...
I will never understand how people just soak this in and be able to compare it. Because in all reality, I mean, there's been many political rallies at Madison Square Garden. But the fact that they're legitimately trying to say that Trump is Hitler is it's disturbing, but it's laughable at this point. It's like, because we kind of expect it, right?
Yeah.
How?
Your camera, man. It's it's like I don't know what more information people can give out for them to understand what the mainstream media has done to them. You would think maybe, but it's the mainstream media that's been locking down opposition, and people, it almost seems like they have the upper hand because they have the most power right now. So if someone says, okay, the vaccines are harmful, right? You have this swarm, the mainstream media, these doctors that are paid by the industrial medical complex, that the experts that are coming, they'll just hammer down on that opposition. So until more of us can convince people or lead them, or red pill or whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure if it's going to change, even if Donald Trump gets elected. But I do feel a lot of people have woken up, because I do see a lot of videos of people, actually being like, "Oh, I've always thought that Donald Trump was racist," and they actually a light bulb clicks on, and they're like, "You know what? I've been lied to this whole time." And I think there's a lot more people than the mainstream media wants to lead on to that, because why is it? I think there's a recent Gallup poll that stated 20% of Americans trust the mainstream media right now. This is why X is so pivotal. X and Rumble is so pivotal, because we are leading that change on the narrative. And each time the mainstream media comes out with this hit piece on Trump or any other narrative building news story, we're there and we're challenging them, and we're knocking their asses down because we know the truth. And I think they're really scared, because they know if Donald Trump gets reelected, immediate change is going to happen. And you know what? If they want to compare him to Hitler, then fuck it. Act like Hitler. Start arresting these people. That's my
Well,
opinion. Like they're gonna call you a fascist anyway. So just do it. I mean, like
well, I
honestly.
would say that we need to do the right thing, because right now what we've been allowing to happen over the past couple of decades is we've allowed the government to run rampant, and for these
Mhm.
media companies to run rampant. I mean, they've been virtue signaling for years now, and
Yes.
believing that what they're doing is social justice, and it's all the things that sound good on paper if you're trying to get this utopian, everybody is all inclusive all the time, as long as you repeat the right things.
Mhm.
But doing the right thing sometimes means cutting the wheat from the chaff. It means that
Mm.
you actually have to. You can't always include everybody all the time in everything. It's an impossible idea.
Yeah.
So they've been selling us utopia for years. But the problem is
Mhm.
that in the world will never be a utopia. That's not what our
No.
reality is, and we will never achieve it. And going from where we are right now to utopia is impossible. And they've just been selling they've been skipping the entire, like, I made a post about this earlier, because
Mhm.
I was I was just thinking about the some of the founding documents, and basically when
Like a true
it was
patriot.
written down, yeah, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And
Right.
I was trying to think to myself, why did they put the pursuit of happiness? Why didn't they just put happiness? Like, if everybody has rights, God granted us these rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The
Right.
media, the left wing, the Kamala Harris campaign, the Joe Biden campaign back in 2020, what they were selling us was the idea of happiness, not the pursuit of happiness itself, right? Because the most important part, the most
Mm.
fulfilling part is pursuing happiness. Like, if you are just given something, right? Like, if you are a kid
Correct.
and you have a trust fund and you just get everything in your life,
Mhm.
I can guarantee you that he is not going to be able to overcome adversity as well as someone who had a hard life. I
Yes.
guarantee that he is not going to value the things he is given, because, believe it or not, being given things is not as great as getting something, as earning something, right? That
Yes.
journey is very, very important in order for people to grow and learn and become stronger and resilient.
Yes. Dude, that's absolutely correct. Oh, took forever
S.
to join on
McDonald, he
Rumble.
said, took me forever to join on Rumble, was watching on X. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. McDonald Dad. I love that. That's a great name. Perfect.
Man, so to kind of, add to your point, nothing in my life has ever been given to me. From when I was growing up, my father, he told me stories that he ate cartons of eggs for weeks at a time just so my brother and my mom can have good food. We never participated in extracurricular activities. I when I graduated high school, I initially went to trade school and I got my electrical license where I did marine electrical, which is on boats and shit. But anyways, I didn't feel I was gonna make a career out of this, and I wanted to serve my country, and I wanted to travel and make myself a better person, a man, be disciplined even more than I was, and that's when I joined the army. Those 8 years that I served are the greatest, worst years of my life because I've seen some shit overseas, and some things have happened to me. There's a lot of hurry up and wait and a lot of bullshit, but you know what? At the end of the day, it made me structured, it made me have a sense of purpose, and it built me to the man I am today, you know? So everything that I have now is because of hard work and dedication. Plain and simple. Nothing was handed to me. And I'll be damned if I have these communist bastards take this from me or anybody for that matter. Because what we have in the United States of America is the best damn country on this planet. Because I've been to real shitholes. And liberals get upset when we call these countries shitholes. Well, they are. They're shitholes. Let's be real. And not everybody from around the world can come to the United States. This is just fact, because cultures are not intended to mix as much as they believe or they're trying to push off of to you. So,
Well, yeah,
long
yeah.
story
I mean,
short,
that's important.
yes, absolutely. So, oh fuck, you messed me up. But
Sorry, bud.
that's what I have to say. Like, no, you're good, you're good. But fight for this country. Donald Trump is absolutely correct when he says fight, because you have to find that internal spirit and that drive and that American patriotism to take this damn country back. And we're going to do it in 7.5 days. Let's go.
Wow, 7.5 days. I can't believe that we're already coming up this close.
I know.
I did want to highlight that point, because when you said that the cultures can't mix, when I was growing up, we called it a melting pot. And the reason that it was a melting pot is when people came to this country, they assimilated into our culture, and then they were able to
Correct.
celebrate their own culture. But we can't have this multiculturalism bullshit that they want now, because guess what? Sharia law is a thing, and we cannot coexist with people who want Sharia law.
Nope.
We can't coexist with people who want to sterilize their children under gender affirming care. We can't coexist with the people that want to sacrifice their children anymore. Like, we're getting to a point of absurdity, and
Yes.
we have to make a decision on what way we want to go as a country. So once we get to this, we're at this point now where we can't have this multicultural thing. We have to have an American culture. What is our American culture? That we strive for freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. And that all men are created equal. That, which way do you guys want? If you want Kamala Harris, you're
Yeah.
going to get DEI. You're going to get judged by the skin you were born with instead of the content of your character. If you vote for Donald Trump, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get all men are created equal, and you are going to have the right to pursue happiness. That's the huge difference in the fundamental understanding of reality that we're creating, and that the media has been destroying, and that, I mean, schools, colleges have been destroying the foundations of what made America great. So when we say we want to make America great again, we want to go back to the fundamentals. And I'm not talking about slavery, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody always says the founding fathers always had they had slavery in mind, and that they didn't believe that black men were equal. And the problem with that is that they didn't say all men are created equal except for the slaves. They said all men, period. Right? That
Yes.
means everybody.
Yeah. So
They
these liberals have a revisionist history, and they try to, pick apart at the foundation of this country, and they'll kind of like have this little idea, this little spark on way, oh man, I can make this about racism or something else, and they kind of take it out of context, and they'll really drive a sort of narrative that is obviously false, because they'll do the same thing about the Second Amendment, where well, assault rifles, whatever the fuck that is, didn't apply to muskets, and I'm like, well, obviously, but they wrote it shall not be infringed for a reason. They had that foresight to be like, okay, eventually tyranny, with a great country, you have weak men. Eventually, at some point in a history of a country, there's going to be conflict on the foundational aspirations of a country, and there are going to be people. The liberals would have collapsed a Roman society, in my opinion. Those are the types of people they are.
Yeah.
So, like you were saying, we are at an inflection point where we need to decide if we want to be constitutionalist or we want to branch off into this liberal dystopia where they're just going to allow more illegals into this country. And what Democrats don't understand is if they elect Kamala Harris, they're going to allow another 10 to 15, 20 million more illegals, grant them mass amnesty. So guess what? Now their voice is going to be louder than yours. So if these illegals have this idea or this project where they say maybe they want to change the flag to the Mexican flag, they will have enough votes like these people to get into power to do something like that. And these Democrats are going to be like, oh my God, what happened? Yeah, retard, we told you this 10 years ago.
Yeah. I want to answer this guy really quick.
Okay.
Based and biased here. He says, how many signers of the Constitution own slaves? Now, this is kind of an argument that I hear quite often, is that they all own slaves. And, well, I don't know if all of them did, but I'm imagining that the overwhelming majority of them did, is that they didn't free their own slaves, right? I want to pose you this question, because a lot of the times this question is asked from an intentional moral high ground. Hang on just a second. My son just broke in here.
No worries, man.
So this is said from an intentional, like perceived moral high ground. And in all reality, they were born into slave owning families, and they laid the foundation for a society that has all men created equal. All right. Now, I would like to ask you guys to understand what kind of society we've been born into today. Because today, we don't own slaves directly, but we fund their masters. The phone that you have is made by slaves. The cobalt mined for the batteries and all of our electronic devices are mined by children slaves in the Congo. The shoes by Nike are made by slaves. So we don't own slaves directly, but we have set up our society to fund the owners of slaves overseas. So are we that much morally better because we participate in society today? We don't see the slaves out in the field picking cotton, but we know that the products that we buy are funding the slaves overseas. So how morally better and superior do you feel in the fact that you are doing not exactly the same thing, but pretty damn close to the same thing? And shouldn't it be a goal that we should be working towards to eradicate slavery, not just in America, but around the world? The only way that we can do that is to actually start bringing jobs back here, and yes, paying more for products. But if we do that and we build products here that last longer, so we don't have to get a new phone every 2 years when the new iPhone comes out, like we don't need to do that shit. But a lot of the times when we are buying these brand new products with planned obsolescence, they're being either mined or created by slaves overseas. And I'm biased, based and biased. I'm not saying that you yourself is coming from a moral high ground. I'm just saying that a lot of the times it is posed in that way, that the founding fathers were slave owners and that they were racist pieces of trash and they don't deserve to be revered like someone like me or Steve does. So I'm not coming at you directly. Okay. I'm just saying that the idea in how we perceive the founding fathers, it shouldn't be put into this box that it is their slave owner pieces of shit, that we can't take any of their work seriously. When they created the greatest nation on God's green earth, they planted the seeds for a tree in which they knew they would never sit in that shade. It's a very, very beautiful thing. And you're right. Yeah, many of the founding fathers did fight against slavery, but they knew for a fact that it wasn't going to be a popular narrative in order to defeat the British. So it's very, very complicated. That's a huge subject that we can go into, but I just kind of wanted to answer that. And, maybe it was the way you phrased it or something that brought up a lot of the arguments that I've had on X or online about people just dogging on the founding fathers, and it drives me crazy. And it like, I'm constantly questioning if I'm doing the right thing. And I think that's something that the left lacks today. And I mean, the right does too, but I really see it on the left is that there's this moral superiority that it's entire wokeism
Yeah.
crap is them standing on the moral high ground and saying, well,
Mhm.
I'm better than you at this, and you need to listen to me because I'm smarter and more righteous in a certain way. So say my pronouns or else.
Yeah, I'm never gonna say pronouns. But yeah, absolutely, man. Man, you kind of went on a long rant. So,
I know.
um,
I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I was just trying to like make everything concise, but you you are absolutely correct with the whole slave thing. Just because there is no physical aspect to slavery in the United States anymore. It is more of an idea, or maybe a key term. They like to say a construct. This thing right here is modern day slavery. And
Yes.
I do understand like a lot of people need it to succeed in the workplace and to be successful on social media. But at some point, you have to touch grass, and you have to just kind of get away and free your mind from everything. Just because if you get so ingrained on social media and the news, and you're gonna lose sight of what it like. You it almost changes your identity as a person. You become this person that's so intertwined into some sort of narrative that it almost makes it hard for you to free think at some point, because you're so focused like on these things that are happening across the country, when you can literally just go walk outside, and every nothing is what they say it is. I go, to so I live in a part of Texas where there's a pretty large Hispanic population. Nope. There's never been one point where I'm like, "Oh my god, that's a Mexican," or these people are not. They'll never like, "Oh, look, this tall white boy over here." It's America is not what they try to make it out to be. So this whole mass formation psychosis thing it's been kind of driven into people's minds for so long. And once you break free of that mindset, it's you have your own internal great awakening, because you can call out things easier, and you can get called racist, sexist, um, honky. I don't care. That crap doesn't matter to me, because I don't know you and you don't affect me or my life. The only thing that matters to me is my family, my friends, and you, Maurice. You're cool people.
Hey, really quick, you guys. We are going to go to a quick ad break. After the break, we are going to talk a little bit about how the media and the Kamala Harris campaign in general is failing, and why they are failing, and why Trump will win. We'll be right back, you guys. Thank you.
Since the beginning of time, all living creatures rely on the sun's source of natural light to grow and to help promote overall wellness. We are all light beings. The patches are all natural and drug-free that uses the body's own natural light to help promote general health and wellness. How it works: simply place the patch on specific points on your body and where the patch is placed on your skin. It reflects back into the body when it's tapped into its own flow of natural energy, which in turn creates the GHK-Cu copper peptide, which rejuvenates your cells and gives you a more younger, healthier you.
A movement that transcends politics, a vision for a stronger, united America, built on the belief that financial empowerment and political engagement can come together. Introducing the Trump token, America's cryptocurrency, a digital currency that embodies the spirit of innovation and the strength of American values. With a pledge to donate significantly towards Donald Trump's 2024 campaign, America's cryptocurrency. Coming soon. Visit thetrumptoken.com to learn more.
The Trump token is actually out right now. If you go to thetrumptoken.com, actually, you know what? In the description, we have all of our sponsors down there. If you can, just visit them. And I mean, especially if you're interested in getting into any crypto, I know the Trump token themselves have promised $50 million to the Trump campaign. We are now in crunch time. So
Yes.
go to thetrumptoken.com, learn about it. Very cool. And then, of course, that miracle healing therapy. I actually had just made a video about it I need to put out. in all reality, I got a little bit more editing to do with it, but again, it's very, very cool. So all the sponsors are down below.
Man, I think
I was reading through the comments as the commercials were playing, and I guess I don't know what I said, but where'd it go? Hang on, I got to pull it up. Oh, here it is. Just another
that was a very
domestic
good point.
terrorist, and you sold out your country. I'm assuming he's talking about me or you. I'm not sure. But I mean, this is something that I
You wanna
get
know
almost every day. I know you get it as well,
Oh,
Steve.
dude, yes. hmm
Because
I'm just
the
gonna say
people-
one thing. One thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
I've done more for this country than that motherfucker will ever do in his entire life. So call me a domestic terrorist. You can say what you want, but you see that wall back here and all my medals? I've done more than that loser will ever do in his life.
I'll tell you what, this country was founded on domestic terrorism. Just saying.
I'm a proud
we are
insurrectionist
domestic-
here. I don't care.
Yeah. If we're considered domestic terrorists to the crown, so be it. I'm an enemy
Yes.
of democracy. We live in a constitutional republic, and we are slowly being conformed into a democracy. So I'm an enemy of that.
That's fine with me. That's why we're pals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So what's our next topic, brother?
Well, I did want to cover tonight that I guess one, why the left and why the Kamala Harris campaign is failing, but for two, why this movement is actually so big. Because you know what? I could just read you this article right here, and we'll get to the why they're failing here in just a couple minutes. But check this out. From Business Insider, it says here that people are furious. Bezos faces a Washington Post revolt after he reportedly blocked the paper from endorsing Harris. If you guys didn't know, the Washington Post came out and said that they are not going to be endorsing any candidate. This is a really important point to highlight because
That's
the left
insane.
has been absolutely losing their minds that they did not come out and endorse Kamala Harris. They demand obedience.
Wow.
They demand a
They're not the only
lockstep
ones either.
obedience. Yeah.
So I guess to maybe kind of point out how you're saying how Kamala Harris's campaign is failing.
Mhm.
It started with the Teamsters not endorsing her. First Teamsters non-nomination in like 40 years. Then we have the Washington Insider. We have was it LA Times?
Yeah.
And
LA Times
USA
as well.
Today. So these are major publications. So knowing this is why Kamala Harris has to bring all these celebrities and these Diddy List people onto stage and perform to show. Honestly, I want to know how much money she spent on all of this. It's got to be close to hundreds of millions of dollars. It has.
It's
to
over
be.
$1 billion. It's over $1 billion now.
$1 billion. Oh my God. So you notice, what does Donald Trump do? Does he bring these celebrities? No, because he is the main attraction, and it shows at every single rally that he goes to. Stroke of genius when he went to Butler, Pennsylvania a second time, and then Madison Square Garden, a Republican nominee going to a huge, deep blue stronghold and completely rock the house. This is why I firmly believe Donald Trump is going to win at least 40 states, if not closer to 50. The way things are shaping up in Nevada, early voting right now is over 100,000 Republican in Nevada. There's so many different posts that I've seen throughout on X how Miami-Dade County in Florida red. This is insane, and this is not just a movement. This is an actual, in my opinion, a soft revolution. People are fed up with what has been going on these last 4 years, and there are a lot of people that are awake, and there are more of us than them. So, and 7.5 days. I cannot wait. And just so everybody knows out there, me and Maurice will probably be streaming on election night if you guys can join us. I'm not sure, maybe same time, same bat channel, if I'm correct. But we'll
Hmm.
probably have like a version, and I'll have a lot of beer with me so we can, get things spicy around here.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very unfiltered. So if you guys want to join us on election night, we are going to stay up all night long and watch the news and just just bullshit. And hopefully we can bring a couple of you guys up if you wanted to talk, if you had a camera and everything. We can bring you up into the
Oh, that
podcast
would be
and
cool.
why not? Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. Um, really quick before we move on, I wanted to read this little bit here about the Washington Post editorial staff revolt after the paper announced Friday that it wouldn't endorse presidential candidate, blah, blah. Robert Kagan, an editor-at-large and columnist who has warned of a Trump dictatorship, resigned Friday. So not only are people boycotting and canceling their membership to the Washington Post for not endorsing their perceived candidate, but there are editors, there's staffers just absolutely leaving, resigning from the company themselves.
Wow.
This is why so many people have said that they didn't leave the left left them, right? This is why someone like Elon Musk has now joined the MAGA side, why Tulsi Gabbard, RFK. We have a coalition of people now who respect freedom and our individual rights more than obedience to whatever the hell these people want. Because there is no reason why a paper like this should be endorsing a candidate. Jeff Bezos, as far as I'm concerned, he is probably banking on Donald Trump winning, he doesn't want them to endorse the wrong candidate. But also, you can see why. Like, once you step out of line to the left, they go after you. They boycott you. They shame you. And this is a story for so many Americans. And, maybe you are pro-choice, but you don't think that it's right to legalize abortion up until 9 months. Well, all of a sudden now you're going to get attacked. And then you're going to realize, like, holy shit, these people are crazy. And then, so all of a sudden we now have a ton of pro-choice people in the MAGA movement because the left has said, no, we want abortion on demand up until birth for no reason and no cost to the mother. It's insane.
Yeah.
And this is, and now with illegal immigration, they want open borders. They want almost nobody to be vetted, and they want you to just accept it. They want to import 20,000 Haitians to Springfield, Ohio, and just want you to be okay with it. And if you're not, if you speak up and say, hey, my community kind of can't support all these people. I don't know why you're dropping them all here, but we can't do this. Canceled. And then they'll come after you. They'll boycott you. They'll smear you. They'll do everything in their power to destroy you because they want to make an example out of you for stepping out of line. They want obedience.
But if you notice, their numbers are dwindling because each time for each, I guess, different scenario that they try to boycott people, they start to segment more and more people away from their movement. That's why you have the RFKs and you have the Tulsis, because we haven't gone further to the right. No, we've held our ground for numerous decades on what we stand on, but they have gone so far to the left, it only appears that we're right wingers, when in fact, they're just communist left wingers. And we have just been holding our steady ground for forever. Now what they're doing is they're getting desperate because they do understand a lot of people are moving away from their radicalism. So with any kind of radical ideology, they are trying to hold with whatever power that they have. And if there's somebody that's like, I don't know, that's exactly when they will start canceling those people. And then those people are like, okay, well then F you, I'm going to go over to this side. And then the next scenario happens. And then it's a compounding effect. So, but what people need to realize is the more people that they lose, the more fierce their attacks are going to be, the more brazen and bold they're going to become because they're a feral animal and they're getting backed into a corner. So this is why Donald Trump does say fight, because I think, in my opinion, he has the foresight and the knowledge. I mean, he got shot, for Christ's sake, but he has the understanding that this is about it's before it can get good, it's going to get worse. And we are at that precipice right now.
Army of Juan.
Oh, I love that name. Oh, that's such a good name.
Okay, so I want to explain to you guys why I believe the Kamala Harris campaign in the mainstream media, why all this stuff is falling apart. And I made a video about this a little while ago. I don't know if you guys had seen it, but I'll try and explain it the same here. They say that the pen is mightier than the sword, and there's a reason that the First Amendment is freedom of speech. It's because words have power, or so they say. We're also taught as children that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So that contradiction in itself is actually kind of confusing, but it makes sense once you realize what gives words power. For the last decade or so, the media and the left have been banking on the fact that the profits that they earn from this rage bait and clickbait media this propaganda that they've been producing is what actually gives them power. The problem is that there is no power in words unless it is connected to truth. And the media and the left wing, the Kamala Harris campaign, has strayed so far from the truth that now they are deeming that Donald Trump holding a rally at Madison Square Garden with Jew flags everywhere, with black men speaking, with Indian men speaking, with all kinds of nationalities or backgrounds speaking at this event, and everybody there together, all celebrating America First ideas. They're deeming that to be a Nazi rally, which in no way does that bear any resemblance to what was actually happening at Madison Square Garden. So with the disconnect that they have from reality, their words are beginning to fall flat. And through places like X and Rumble, people are starting to see through this, because as you can see, the media planned this beforehand. They've been spending billions, hundreds of billions of dollars over decades to figure out exactly how to prepare these kind of hit pieces, how to lay out the groundwork, how to bring out a general who 4 years ago just suddenly remembered, oh yeah, Trump said that he admired or that he wanted his generals to be like Hitler's generals. So they laid the groundwork so that they could produce all of these stories and all these headlines over the weekend saying that Donald Trump held a rally just like Hitler did. They are very meticulous, and they know exactly what they're doing to grab your attention. So if you are not paying attention, if you are just a regular person who doesn't pay attention to the news, and you see a headline saying that Donald Trump held a Hitlerian rally this weekend, you'd be like, holy crap, that's terrifying. But it's not reality. And many people are waking up to it. And thank God people are speaking up and standing against this. And we can finally see through the veil that their words are lies. They are not connected to reality, and that they have no power here. So when people say that Steve here is a traitor to his country, we know for a fact that's not reality. When people say that I am an Uncle Tonto or an Apple or a race traitor, I know that's not reality. So that stuff doesn't bug me. So that's where it comes into play, that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. It is deceitful words. It is lies and propaganda that will never hurt me. It is the truth that will set you free. It is the truth that has all the power. That's what makes the pen mightier than the sword, is when it's connected to the truth.
Bravo.
I thought about that a lot.
Bravo, sir. I could tell, because you put a lot of thought and like passion, and you really nailed this one. Thank you, Miss Ambers. She stated that Great work, my dudes. I'd rather listen to you two than mainstream media all effing day. Well, that's good.
Yeah. And
Um,
you know, we can talk
Back to
about the
you with
news
the
and
weather.
talk about what they said, but we're just not gonna
Yeah.
like we have our biases, of course. Look,
Mhm.
I made my own
Yeah.
Make America Great Again headdress. I mean, I got biases, right?
That's dude,
But
that's yeah, dude, of course, everybody does, but we all have one common purpose. Like, I do not care that you're native. I I mean, I'm not saying that, I guess don't take that the wrong way. What I mean is, I I judge you based off of your patriotism and your wholesomeness to you and your family and your work ethic and things like that. This is what we talk about content of character.
are you
It
saying, oh dang it. I was gonna say, are you saying content of character? Yes.
yeah. So, but we're like we this is what people need to get past. This whole racism crap. The whole thing with George Floyd, yeah, okay, maybe he shouldn't have put his knee on his neck when he's saying I couldn't breathe, but the officer didn't know he was dying of fentanyl. Let's be real about that whole situation. But to destroy cities based off this fabricated thought of actual racism in this country. This is what we talk about when we say mass formation psychosis, or even the stuff with the Nazi rally with Donald Trump. It's all horse crap. And I don't know, man. I just I just feel there are way more people that are against this than for it. I think
Yeah.
there are a
And
lot of people that maybe even liberals too. They might even say, "Oh, like they're picking up a newspaper and they're like, oh, Nazi Trump rally." They're probably just whatever and go to the sports section or something. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I'm Steve,
To me,
that's why
it would
you
be
have
overwhelming.
300. That's why you have 314,000 followers, Steve. You're a you're a veteran from Texas, or I guess living in Texas, from a small town of
Mhm.
2,500 people, and you have accrued. I mean, more people have watched this show tonight. We have over 12,000 people watching this show. More people have seen this show tonight than both of the towns that we've came from combined times two.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
reason that
factual,
so
man.
many people have this feeling when you speak to them, whether it be through tweet or through videos, it resonates with
Mhm.
them because it is truthful. We do our best to, like, we're not always going to be right about everything, obviously, but at least we are God fearing Americans who love this country and want the best for it. And so we're doing everything in our power to make that happen, and we are resonating with people. That's why combined, Steve, we have
Mhm.
500, almost 500,000 followers, because people understand that there's a resonation happening deep within
Mhm.
their soul that they feel, that's been there hidden and pushed down by all the poisonous food we've been consuming, by all the distracting media that we consume, by all of these things that have been put in your face day in and day out to distract you, to
Yes.
make you
Mhm.
docile, and to make you complacent in where you are right now. That's why we're going to make a change. That's why we are going to make a cultural shift happen in this country to bring patriotism back and to bring the God-fearing Americans who are willing to fight, stand, and die for this country rather than fall asleep on the couch every night, drinking a ton of alcohol and letting your life waste away. Well, we can't be doing that every day anymore. We can't be just sitting by and letting all of these things happen. We need to be proactive. We need to step up,
Mhm.
stand out, speak out. We're no longer the silent majority. We are the righteous and outspoken majority now. It's changed. We're coming.
Ooh, I like that. And you know what? If you don't live for something, you're gonna die for nothing. Take carpe diem. I'm throwing all these analogies, but live every single day wanting to take this country back or to just strive and be a good person, a good family member. Take every single day and live it to the fullest because you never know when it's your last day, when your time is up, when God wants to bring you up. So all I can stress is just just have that intestinal fortitude to want to be able to speak out. And yes, I might have 314,000 followers on X, but honestly, it's my successes from what people have done to show me how much they love this country. Because ultimately, I don't have to have an X account. I don't have to be on this podcast with you. I could just be like, well, I'm awake and I don't want to speak out, but I choose to do it because everybody that comments on posts and post daily truth is what motivates me to keep pushing. So find that energy from someone else and motivate it and fight because we need you.
Yep. Once we realize that once enough of us get our act together, all of a sudden we're going to be able to make a huge change. Miss Amber says
Oh, yeah.
people want to hear from fellow Americans, not puppets. There's nothing like talking with each other in this current state of events and hearing everyone else's stories that are relatable. No one wants to hear what celebrities say when the economy and these policies don't affect them. No one trusts the mainstream. This is where to be. And you're exactly right. And I believe that this is why that we've been able to grow in the way that we have, and why I'm so thankful for you guys actually giving us your attention and your time. It's because we don't have some secret agenda behind the scenes that we're slowly planting seeds in order to put out this narrative on Friday that Trump is actually Hitler, and in the way that the mainstream media does. They take their marching orders. We are doing our best to spread as much truth as we can and counteract the $1 trillion propaganda machine that has been just absolutely destroying the consciousness of this country, the spirit of freedom, and the belief that you have in yourself, in the difference that you can make. Because believe it or not, we are not going to be able to fix this country it starts with you. If your life is in shambles, there's no way for you to be able to fix the country. There has to be enough of us to be able to have our lives put in order, to be able to take control and take charge. That's why my job as a husband and a father is to provide, to protect, and to prepare for the future. That's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm looking forward to this, man.
Yeah, me too,
I
brother.
feel like at a certain point, I want to make this show longer because it is so difficult to get it in 1 hour.
Yeah, I know because we're over time already, and it's just like, man,
Yep.
I think we're just like freaking just getting started. But I
That's
mean,
what it feels like.
maybe one day if we get enough support and are able to financially, just kind of make ends meet, I would love to do this full time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this as like I'm trying to grift or anything, but like I made a post a few days ago that what I do now is almost therapeutic for me because I've dealt with a lot of shit in my life, and the things that I dealt with in Afghanistan still kind of gets to me, but and it took me a long time to go through therapy and actually like figure out how to make that internal change and have that intestinal fortitude to actually make the change of the person that I wanted to be. But now leaving the military, and this happens with a lot of veterans. A, a lot of veterans, they will gain a very very proud sense of purpose whenever they join the military because you're joining the greatest fighting force on the planet.
That the world has
So
ever known.
a
Not
lot of
just
these
today,
guys,
ever.
well, correct. I'm also very humble, but anyways, so what a lot of veterans they lose that purpose when they get off the military. And I think that was kind of what I was struggling with. I didn't have any hobbies or, anything like that. And now I think I've found the place where I want to be. And I'm actually very thankful for you, Maurice, because you've actually sparked this drive into me where to me, okay, so full disclosure, like, so this is only like my 10th, maybe 11th episode potentially, when I joined the Patriots Prayer, your guys' podcast, you and Eddie. But I was
Mhm.
like nervous as crap when I started. But now it's just like I don't know. I literally have fun. I this is something that I really want to do, and I thank all of you guys for sharing, commenting. I get so many comments on posts, and I cannot reply to everybody. That is obviously it's not a dig at you guys. It's just I probably get 10 to if I kept my notifications on, probably 10 to 20,000 notifications a day from X. So it's it's impossible at this point. And I only have 300,000 followers. I imagine people that have like a million, it must be insane. What they probably just completely shut them off and just. But anyways, I digress on that. But thank you everybody from the bottom of my heart. Seriously.
Steve, I know that you got, I mean, you got a knack for seeing, you have a knack for seeing exactly what's going on and cutting through the bullshit. And I'll tell you what, it is difficult transitioning from text
That word.
on I know on X to speaking on a podcast, but I think you're doing quite well. And
Mm.
you guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. And if you can, please share this podcast and join us on Rumble at rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer. We are building an entire network of Patriots. We have multiple shows that, I mean, are all top tier shows from everyday Americans that are sharing their various point of views from different parts of the country with different stories. And it is, I am so glad that I am part of this journey, that I am part in building a network of patriots that isn't just doing this for money, because obviously we're all doing this out of passion right now. The money that we make, it doesn't even offset what we've put into it so far. So it is what it is, but we're doing this out of passion because there is a need to speak up and stand out, and that righteous drive that you have, that patriotic sense of duty. Like, I want to wake that up in as many Americans as I possibly can. And for the patriots that are speaking up, I want to help lift their voices. So tune in to the Base Mothers podcast. Tune in to oh my gosh, there's so many shows. I'm blanking on all of them right now. Damon
We'll
Galdo's
promote you guys. We'll
show.
create a
Yeah,
post.
I apologize, you guys. It's just terrible. But tune in to rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer Network. We are the Patriots Prayer. We are building an entire network of patriots, go many places, and Fundner is one of the shows. The 2 Point Podcast is another one. Here we go. Bang. Thank you. But
Yep.
you guys, in all reality, thank you so much for tuning in. We do plan on having some guest speakers next week. We're actually going to have a big one. It's
gonna
not
break
100%
it, or not?
confirmed
Are
yet.
you-
I don't want to break it. I'm going to break
Okay.
it Wednesday because I want to make sure that is 100% guaranteed. But there is going to be a huge speaker next week on Monday. Don't forget to tune in Mondays, Wednesdays,
Yep.
6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Steve, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Nothing at all, brother. I think we covered it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. God bless you guys. God bless America. Take care.